There is a belief system, indeed the global philosophy of limitation, that there is not enough, and therefore then it must be grabbed, and I would like to say cherished, but most frequently not, possessed would be a more accurate description. We cannot let this go. You have done it in your lives, all of you. And consider whatever I suggest to you with great self-gentleness and love, please. For I also have come to remind you that you have never done anything wrong. You are exactly the perfect person to walk the life you are walking. You are filling the area that you, the angel, chose to enter perfectly to this moment of now. That does not mean that there is not more vastness awaiting you. Certainly more vastness available to you in this particular human life. But I urge you not to waste one more moment of this human journey, this particular adventure, in looking back, scoring yourself as to how well or how badly you did anything at all. But then the mind says, well, Emmanuel, how are we going to learn? Don't we learn from our mistakes? Wouldn't it be wondrous if you did? It seems as though all you learn from your mistakes is how bad you are, how untrustworthy, how you must be watched much more carefully. The only mistake, and that be not a mistake, but an essential beginning to your entry into the world of illusion, is that you have forgotten who you really are. And I say that is essential, for if you held fully the memory of your divine nature, the world would not embrace you. It would not call to you. You would see it as a wondrous adventure, and perhaps you would move in with love and light, but you would not in any manner partake of the business of being a human being. And therefore, you might as well stay home. And so there are essentials that call you, and as you enter into the world of illusion, that drive you. And these are essentials only to the world of illusion, only to the forgetting, only to the darkness. And I want to say something very clearly. When I say darkness, I do not mean evil. I would that vast misunderstanding would be expunged from the human consciousness. For although your world seems at times rife with torment, it only signifies the depth of a forgetting. It never, ever signifies that the truth, that perfect love, that God, if you will, has left the scene. If all things be in their essence perfection, perfect love, then how can even the most profound forgetting be anything but perfect love in a state of forgetting? How can anything be so severed from the essence of all that is, that it becomes something else, some aberrant reality? I promise you it cannot. And so when I speak, when I say darkness, when I say forgetting, do not allow yourself to substitute the word evil, for that holds an entirely false, completely unworkable, because it is false, connotation. And so, how many times have you blamed yourselves? Perhaps not for being evil, we hope not, though some of you have gone to extremes in your self-disappointment. How many times have you taken out, if you will, that age-old checklist that you began to formulate when you were very young about what you ought and ought not to do? How many times in a day, one might say how many times in an hour, have you surreptitiously or boldly looked to say, now, what have I done wrong this time? I know there's such a thing as humility. I know there is a mock assurance that is only a poorly designed mask. I am not speaking of arrogance, nor am I speaking of a closed-hearted self-serving. I'm speaking of you, the essence of you and the human of you, that portion of you that has never forgotten the truth of your being, and that portion of you that has walked upon the physical plane, honoring that portion of you. I would that you would remember this. It is very important for your well-being, for your happiness, for your joy, for your healing, for your self-love. All of your lives, as I have said, you have been schooled in the careful bookkeeping of self-evaluation. And if you were to manifest, or if I were to manifest for you, which I will not do, the ledgers that you have carried around with you, carefully marking all of the things that you have done wrong, minute by minute, you would be appalled. You would not in any manner wonder why you are fatigued at the end of the day, but would marvel that you can stand up straight. And I do not exaggerate. And so while we spend time together, I urge you to be aware. Perhaps it would be useful, if you so wish, though it is not a firm assignment, that you mark down every time you self-criticize just a little line. Perhaps 2 or 3 rather large pieces of paper will take you through a day. If you mark very small lines. And though, yes, it is amusing for you to see the truth in it, you have yet to see the pain in it. And so, not this evening, tomorrow morning when we begin, I urge you all to bring a piece of paper. We will make it assignment. And every time you self-criticize, just put a line down. It doesn't have to be a very loud self-criticism, though in the beginning, those are the ones that will get your attention. It will begin to become, as you will see, more and more subtle. Until finally, perhaps, it will come to that place where you walk into the room and you hesitate a moment. Where should I sit? But you say, is that self-criticism? Is it not? For if you did not doubt yourself, you would know exactly where you wanted to sit. And not only that, you would know how welcomed you would be by everyone there. Why? Why, because you are an angel. You are perfect love masquerading as a human being. Cease to believe the masquerade. You cease to believe the masquerade, and the love is free to flow. Not a simple thing not to believe the masquerade. Why, it's become so familiar that almost every portion of you believes that's who you are. Almost every portion of you. But you have you not, found a place within you where you truly know the essence of your being, where you really, really do, if not intellectually remember, emotionally remember what it is like to be home. If that were not there, you would not be homesick. And each one of you, in your own way, is terribly homesick. Oh, and one or two things more. You are all taught when you are very young that you must be controlled and contained. Otherwise, you will be socially unacceptable. And you have taken that falsehood to your very hearts. And so you believe that if you did not monitor yourself, if you truly did close the ledgers and never pick them up again, that somehow you would do some terrible thing, or you would behave in some revolting way, that you would be ostracized, that you would be rejected, that you would suffer greatly. Is that not so? That the faith of your own integrity has not been completely destroyed, but it most certainly has been held in question. How does one get that back? Faith in one's own integrity. Can you imagine the joy of walking with that? Knowing that you, in your essence, in the truth of your being, can never be anything but loving, truthful, kind, honest, noble. Take a moment to consider that. And allow yourselves to begin to perceive all of the weightiness of self-distrust with which you walk. Let it be a gentle exercise of self-remembering. Nothing, no matter what you believe the nature of it has been, deserves your self-chastisement. Nothing. Your task as human beings is to remember the essence, the truth, the divine nature that you still hold within you, and to honor the journey that such an angel as you has chosen to make in the name of love itself. And the human foibles, what you believe are the human misdeeds or carelessness or irresponsibility, can you not see that these are just the shackles of illusion? That regardless of what seems to be the effects that you have had on others or yourself in your human life, that the journey is being walked as the soul intends it to be walked. You came to enter into the darkness and to bring the light. To enter into the darkness and to bring the light. To enter into the forgetting and then to remember. To become what seems to be the finite human being, but never to fully close from the oneness, from the truth of your own divinity. And so you live in two worlds. You always have, and until you have quite done with this experiment, this adventure, you will continue to live in two worlds. But let that be known to you, which means you are not locked into the tomb of a human life. You are exploring the illusion of a human life. And that's quite a different thing. And what does it mean to explore the illusion of a human life? It means just what you're doing and what you have done. And in all probability, what you will continue to do, hopefully with a more light-hearted, a more remembering, a more self-loving aspect. And so there have been no wrong turns, no careless acts. Every time you have fallen down, you have picked yourself up again. And though you may have been cruel, in that very moment of your cruelty, you were doing the very best you could do in the name of love. Are you aware of that? And so has everyone else. And so has everyone else. And so your world is a much kinder place than fear would have you believe. And you are a much more noble human being than fear would have you believe.